what are you doing right now?
The big V. Look, man.
Alright, man, let's just jump right into this shit.
I made my wife wake up and drive me there anyway. You use a later?
What's up, Lorenzo?
¿Qué pasó, papá? ¿Cómo estás? Any questions?
Now, when you bought that sweater, right? You just go, fuck it. I'm going full Mr. Rogers. You tuned into the Mad Chatter podcast. Oh yeah, we back, motherfuckers. As you can see, the look on, if you're watching this, is a little different. I got the gray or black wall behind me, depending on how you look at it. If you're colorblind, it's probably just black. Can people colorblind see gray, or is it just black and white? Or is it just like all versions of gray, like an X-ray? I don't know. I just be wondering random shit. And it looks like, okay, all right. Just making sure everything was recording. Sweet. We in it now. All right, man. So obviously, it's just me by myself today. You guys caught if you caught the last podcast. John's gonna be taking some time off. We'll still be doing our 2 a week, but he's not gonna be joining me for the midweek show because he's writing a book. You know, he's a father. His son's getting ready to leave to the Air Force. So obviously, you know what I mean, it's fam first. So he's got to go do his thing, handle business at the house. It's all good. We'll probably catch up on Saturday after the Khabib fight. In between the Khabib fight and the Hurricanes game on Saturday night, which let's just kick it off. Saturday is gonna be fucking bananas. We're gonna talk about Real Madrid here a little later in the show. So Real Madrid plays Barcelona at 12. Beginning at 2 p.m. the UFC fight with Khabib versus Gaethje. I think there's Robert Whittaker and Jared Cannonier, Walt Harris and some Russian dude. It's good. It's a hell of a card. You know what I mean? I'm definitely gonna watch it. Shout out to the VPN. But yeah, man. So I want to tell you guys a funny little story. So I'm walking with my wife, and there's a conversation I had with my boy Kobe and John. I was like, yo, man, guns are the only thing that you can constantly buy that nobody can tell you, oh, but you didn't use the other one I got you, which makes perfect sense. Like, you buy a gun for protection, but if you use the other one, then you had to use it for a purpose, right? So yeah, guns are the only things you could constantly buy that you hope to never use. Unless you go like target practice or taking classes or things like that. So that's an interesting way to look at that. That's the only thing. And you spend hundreds of, like, guns aren't cheap. If you listen to this and you've bought guns, you know firsthand that guns are not cheap. You look for the most cost effective one, but you also don't want to cheap out on a gun. You know what I mean? Because you want to make sure it works when it comes to that time. But yeah, like I said, if you're watching the show, it looks a little bit different here. Got the black wall behind me. Shout out to OBS. My brother John sending me the one that we usually use when it's just me and him. And down here, scrolling, you'll see our rolling ticker that will be on future shows, because that'll let you know where to find our merch, like this Immigrant Mentality T-shirt, this dry fit one, which is the only dry fit shirt I have, because I have not figured out how to wash clothes without getting a ton of static. Yes, I've done the dryer sheets. The only way it works is if I hang dry them, and it takes too long. I don't have that kind of patience. So I got to deal with taking it off and feel like I'm fucking Raiden taking this shit off with just or like Velcro just ripping it off my body. It's fucking fantastic. But yeah, man, got a Saturday night, got the Hurricanes playing Virginia. I'm always anxious when they play a team that they should beat because they typically struggle. Like last week, I was more anxious than I had been watching an average Pittsburgh team with solid defense. Because usually after a bad loss in the last 20 years, there's a bad loss right after it. And like a bad loss to a good team, but like a bad loss to a bad team is even worse. So we'll see what happens Saturday. I still watch it with a lot of trepidation. Like I don't get too excited because I know North Carolina is still down the pike, Virginia Tech is still down the road, and then possibly a rematch with Clemson. And now that North Carolina took a bad loss against Florida State, thank you Seminoles. Hopefully we give them their second loss and we have a rematch against Clemson. You know, even if we don't beat them, we'd be in a really good bowl because our 2 losses would be to the best team in college football. I know it's not a participation trophy kind of thing, but I mean, they got the best team in college football. Like I've seen most other teams, and they're just it's them and Alabama and everybody the fuck else. You saw what Alabama did to Georgia, blew them the fuck out the water. Those two teams are so far head above water against everybody else. It's not even fair. I mean, I think you have in the next couple of weeks you have the Pac-12 finally kicking off, like 6 games or some wild shit. And then you have the Big Ten. I think they kicked off last week or they kick off this week. Don't care because I have Ohio State, but just something to look forward to if you listen to this show and you're in the Midwest. Because I don't assume that anybody outside of the Midwest is fans of these teams. You know what I mean? Like I'm not. That's probably a little stupid, but just my opinion, man. With that type of shit. All right, guys. So yeah, man. So it's gonna be just me holding it down today. Hope you guys enjoy listening to my voice, because if you don't, I apologize, because for the next 25 to 30 minutes, this is what it's going to be. You know what I mean? Sadly, has to kick off with something depressing. All right, here we go. If you're watching this on YouTube, right, you'll see this team right here. This is the Real Madrid logo. They are 13-time European champions, countless La Liga championships, Copa del Reyes, go down the line. The team that I've seen since Ronaldo left has been a hard-fighting, tough team. But my God, have they gotten old. I watched highlights of the Cadiz game, or lowlights, because they lost to a newly promoted Cadiz. And they do, like, at the back without... these aren't things. I'm not gonna give you many things that like you won't hear on ESPN FC and things like that. But watching them as a fan, they're so incredibly boring to watch unless you bring in like a Vinicius. Vinicius is their only highlight going forward. Like Benzema does his goal stuff and cool, whatever. But there's no. It's very methodical the way they go forward. There's no creativity, right? Like, there's not like all of a sudden a nice through ball because they don't have any speed down the middle because Benzema isn't that player. The guy that was supposed to be that is Eden Hazard. Probably never going to play for Real Madrid again because he was Gareth Bale without the championships. And with Gareth Bale, you let it slide because when he came on, he gave you magic, right? He gave you that Copa del Rey run years ago. He gave you the bike kick in the Champions League final against Liverpool. He gave you these moments where it was just pure brilliance. Eden Hazard hasn't given you that, and he came in fat and out of shape. And it's weird because like it's fat for football, right? It's not like fat for fat. Like it's not like he's just morbidly obese and he just showed up like looking like Ronaldo, a retired Ronaldo. That's not it. It's that he just came in out of shape for the standards that happened. He came in looking like Dion Waiters. All right, I'm going to put it like that. Dion Waiters came in fat to the Miami Heat and never played. And you can't do that. You can't do that at the top level, man. You can't do that with the top clubs. You can't do that at any club. You can do that maybe at a second or third tier that nobody ever watches because nobody cares, or you know what I mean, just in that small town. But you can't do that at Real Madrid. Real Madrid didn't really sign anybody. They just called back Marcin Odegaard from Real Sociedad. He's injured for a month. There's no speed going. Cruz is a great ball handler and great passer, but he's older now, slower, so it's not much of a threat going forward. You have Vinicius and Rodrigo, which they're too young. You need somebody above them, which you do like them as a super sub for like the last 25 minutes in case you need a goal, which Vinicius came in and did that in the second half when they were losing to Shakhtar Donetsk or some shit like that. 3-0 at half, which it should have been 5 or 6. Like Rafael Varane without Sergio Ramos looks like he looks like me. He looks like he's never played professional soccer in his life. Backing up, it boggled. He looked terrible against Manchester City in Champions League. He looked terrible yesterday, and the fact that Shakhtar are 13 missing players, 13, and that's what they put forth after a terrible performance on Saturday. And now you have El Clásico, Barcelona, Saturday at noon. which Barcelona, for all the offseason bullshit with Messi wanting to leave and all, they just lost to Getafe, but they destroyed whoever the fuck they played. 3-0. Ansu Fati looks like a brilliant player going forward. Real Madrid doesn't have that. Now, with all the fucking offseason trials and tribulations with Barcelona, Real Madrid not signing anybody looks like the worst team. Now, I say that with the pure understanding that Real Madrid can come on Saturday and ball out. Because my boy Fede Valverde is still there. Marco Asensio, who I have an affinity for, doing his thing. But, man, it is difficult to gather why the fuck they're playing this bad. Like, they're first of all, they're old, right? They haven't made any good signings to replace their older players. We should have a Upamecano right behind Sergio Ramos to take that mantle over, or Koulibaly, somebody younger that can spell us for a couple years. By the time Jesus Vallejo maybe develops into a good corner, into a good center half. But man, like it just, I don't understand. Well, I do understand how they've gotten so older, because the way time works, everybody has a birthday, they get older and older. But if I'm seeing this, I don't understand how they're not. And the thought that like they want to go after a Pogba, not a fan. I'm cool with a Kylian and Mbappe, but I need to hear some defenders coming up, man. I need to hear talk of defenders. It's the same thing with my second favorite team in England in the Euros, which is Liverpool. I need to hear something about a better defender coming back, because now they've lost now that they lost Van Dijk, but they're set up a little bit better because they have Fabinho, who played at the center back position yesterday. So I'm cool with that. Maybe you put, I don't know what the fuck you do, man. But my God, Varane looks terrible going. But Militao looks like he doesn't know how to play. Like neither of them, like they said it on ESPN FC. If their daddy's not there, they're just not the same quality of player. It's so crazy, dude. It is so crazy how bad they look defending. I mean, on every count. I mean, their counters. So if you play FIFA like I do, I play FIFA on the counter, right? I play 4-5-1. Always ready. As soon as I turn the ball over, pass, little dribble, through ball to Pulisic on the left, and probably a pass down the middle to I think yesterday I used like Tammy Abraham just to give which is stupid as it is, just to give Higuain a spell. First of all, he doesn't get tired. He's not a real person. I should just play him the whole entire time. Whatever. Don't fucking judge me. All right? That's what I want to do. But so I always just do crosses, hit it down the middle. You know what I mean? Hit a nice little tap in when the goalie commits to the winger. Or I'll do the same thing with Bale. There's none of that creativity that I see going forward for Madrid. So I don't understand. I just don't get it, man. I don't understand what they're doing. Listen, again, Zinedine Zidane, World Cup champion. He knows what the fuck he's doing. He knows more football than I'll ever possibly comprehend or understand. Right? That's not my thing. But man, it's just, it's nerve-wracking, bro. Because part of you, it's kind of like how the same kind of sentiment I have with like the Hurricanes, right? Where I remember how great they were, so I expect them to always be great. You know, maybe we had a hell of a run with Ronaldo, which was a hell of a run. 3P with the world, 3P European champions. And you move on and you learn, and maybe we'll just be a La Liga champs for a while and figure it out. You know what I mean? Because they're always going to be 1 and 2. Maybe third if Atletico Madrid decides to show up to the party. Or dude, going forward, it's hard to watch, man. It's hard to watch. But yeah, like it was just with, like I was saying with the FIFA stuff, it was just with the counter, just seemed like they were never ready. Like I saw, I think in the last 20 minutes, I saw 3 or 4 through balls that he was completely on the backside of the last defender, perfectly set up for the counter because everybody's ball watching. It looked like nobody was playing the lines, right? So what I refer to as the lines, how I come to understand soccer, like you have the back line that all has to be almost in a line together, all 4, right? You might have the wing backs, the left back and the right back go forward, which Marcelo does, And then they had Ferland Mendy for whatever reason playing the right. I guess Carvajal must have been hurt. And they weren't positioned right. Like their communication was off. Looked like they had never played together. It was just weird because these set of players have been together for at least 2 years because Ferland Mendy was signed last offseason with Eder Militao. So they've been there at least 24 months. This type of miscommunication shouldn't happen at the back line. But I guess that shows you how much work Sergio Ramos has to do at that back line to get everybody coordinated because there's no talker back there from what I'm seeing, right? Like Marcelo's just like a guy who wants to go forward, and Varane seems like an incredibly quiet dude. I've never actually like even when they show the camera on him, I never seen his mouth move. He's very like Kawhi Leonard, like that's the kind of disposition he has. Ferland Mendy, good young player, playing out of position. He should be playing on the left. You could see like when he was down the line on the right, he didn't know how to like go forward with his right foot because he's so left-footed dominant. I don't know, man. It was fucking weird. And I have no idea what to expect for Saturday. So I'll watch it casually, but still anxiety-driven because, I mean, Real Madrid is my number one European team, and they will continue to be. That doesn't change. Like, I'm not leaving this team for anybody else. I'm not going to all of a sudden throw on a fucking Barca shirt. Fuck all of that noise. All right, man. Let's get into the next one. Oh, shit. Yeah, man. So I voiced my democracy yesterday. I went ahead and my wife and I did some early voting. We filled out our mail-in ballots here at home, and then we dropped it off at the elections office. It's like a mile and a half down from the house, maybe 2 miles, because shit, it's a mile from my house, from my door to the mailbox. So shit, it might be actually 3 miles. Whatever, doesn't matter, right? Like if I can gonna MapQuest it. Who the fuck uses MapQuest? Whatever. So we thought we could fill it out and then just scan it in, right? Like make the line and then just scan it in because there's things on the ballot like different amendments that you have to read up on. I kind of refuse to believe that people read up on those kind of things, or remember that. Which is if they do, salute to you, not a knock on you. But there was like judges on there for the Florida Supreme Court. There was 6 different amendments, and the way they're worded are really tricky. So you have to make sure you're up on that type of shit. Like the thing I found interesting, because this is where like I'm thankful that I'm partially deaf in my right ear, which is a stupid thing to say, but whatever, is that we're standing in line and this Karen in front of us is making comments because we have our mail-in ballots. My wife went to go talk to the people at the front. Like, hey, can we just like drop these off here, or can we just scan it in when we get to our time? And the lady in front of us was making comments. I didn't hear her. My wife is good about not telling me things when they're happening like that because she knows I'm going to start talking shit. Because if you know me or have you seen any of my political posts when I used to be on social media like that, you know I'm not afraid to talk some shit. So she's making comments. She's like, see, all they want to do is show up with their ballots and scan it twice. I was like, first of all, this is what I'm thinking. This is a conversation that I had in my head after the fact. That's kind of how it worked. Like I still wanted to talk shit. I was like, first of all, you know how stupid that is? Or like somebody's watching me scan this in and they're going to watch me scan 2 things in. So they're going to allow me to do this fucking fraud that you say, that you speak of. And here's another reason why that's stupid. Mail-in ballots are the same thing as absentee ballots. Right? So you get the ballots, you fill it out, and you mail it back. Guess who did that? President Donald J. Trump. I don't know what the J stands for. Don't give a fuck. Probably Junior. Oh, who cares? Joffrey is what it stands for. Donald Joffrey Trump. So every military service member across the world mails in their ballots. As long as they're stamped November 3rd, they should be counted. If you don't count them, that is the end of democracy. Okay? This is so stupid. Like, so fucking dumb for people to be told, oh, mail-in ballots are bad. Don't trust them. And that's it. Like, you don't even look into it. You don't look into, like, what it means and all this other things and, like, what it takes to actually mail. You are quickly questioning the entire democratic ways and democracy with just one person saying that. Shows how fickle your belief in democracy actually is, right? Because you're cool with ending it with no problem. It's not even going into like what happened with the news breaking yesterday, where like the Iran and Russia hacking into like our voter registration and then sending out targeted emails and messages and social media. That's a whole different thing. If you fall for that type of stuff, I got a fucking bridge to sell you in Idaho. I don't understand that like I don't understand why people don't question shit, right? Like, listen, there's things that I believe, right? But I have the ability to change. There's conversations I've had with my best friend Danny, right? Like, we have a lot of devil's advocate conversations where he just like, oh, but what about this? I was like, yeah, man, but there's also this, you know what I mean? Because there's a lot of nuance and context that goes into everything. For you to believe that the entire system is rigged against one person, and then that person is who you're fanatical over, that's dangerous, because if one person makes you question all of that, that's how things lead to authoritarianism, right? In my opinion, because if this one person is the only savior, this is the only person who can fix it, that's not democracy anymore. That's a dictatorship in every facet, right? Because he's the only one you trust. Then you don't trust anything else. But a lot of the people that live around me are older, so they're on Social Security. Guess who doesn't pay them? And the president doesn't pay that. The Social Security office does. The taxes that we pay for does. Whatever. But yeah, just getting it out of the way and making sure our ballots were filled out to the best of our knowledge just felt good. Like, there was one amendment on there that talked about like disabled veterans, where like if something happens to a veteran, if they lose their life or they're incapable of taking care of themselves, and they sell the house, the money goes to the spouse, right? Like, or they're able to sell it with easier, some shit like that. Like, I don't understand how you could be against that, because like whoever was against it, whatever. But it was like, it's good to have the. I actually enjoyed and appreciated being able to vote for my house and fill out the ballot, because if I would have done that in the office or in the box or whatever, in the little cubicle they give you, I probably wouldn't have remembered all that. Like, I think I did it in 2018, 2016 was I like filled out a little piece of paper and just transferred it over, which is one of the things that I asked the guy. I was like, yo, look, I already have this filled out. Can I just transfer it over to a new form, then we shred this one? And then I guess that's when the lady started talking shit. First off, Karen, if you're going to talk that much shit and believe in what you're saying, speak a little louder. Say it with your chest, bitch. That's all I'm saying. Say it with your motherfucking chest. If you believe in what you're saying so strongly, speak on it, and let's have a conversation of ideas, right? Because that's how we're gonna, like, mumbling to yourself. And, dude, I wanted to roast her so fucking bad. Like, in my mind, I roasted her nasty without ever saying a word, without ever saying a bad word, because her husband, whatever. Like, listen. It was so frustrating, man. Like, I'm gonna look at like, it was so frustrating, the fact that I didn't hear her talk her shit, but my wife did. So she didn't say, like, yo, I think my wife goes, if this bitch doesn't shut the fuck up, I might have to say something. I'm like, I don't even know who you're talking about. I don't hear anybody saying anything. That's how fucking deaf I am in one ear. Sidebar, I gotta get that cleared out, man. Wax buildup, it gets nasty in there. Gotta get it cleared out, because was it Q-tips don't do it, because all they do is fuck it up. So I gotta go to the doctor and get that looked at. But yeah, man, I'm glad I got it done. It's done. Like, this, that's the only part of the democracy that I can control until I become president, which I can't because I'm a naturalized citizen. I just remembered that. So I'm gonna just have to be a senator or some shit. I'm cool with being a senator from Florida. But then I realized that, like, the shit that I talk on this podcast, like, might end up on CNN. I'm like, shit. He believes James Baldwin quotes and believes in society taking care of itself. Probably not the guy who wants to run for Senate, right? It's crazy. I don't know, man. But yeah, listen, Saturday's gonna be crazy. Next time you'll hear my voice, it'll probably be with that sweater vest wearing bitch, Jonathan Vallejo. It's gonna be a good time, man. Please follow us and support us on every social media for the Man Chatter podcast. Check out the store. Check out the Patreon. You know what I mean? We're not trying to be, we are. Like, we do it ourselves. Like, there's nobody else who does this shit. Like, everything you see around me, I created or John created. The shirt I'm wearing, I designed. Shout out to Printify. You can find the store at themanchatterpodcast.com/shop. But yeah, man, trying to get this shit done. I'm going to go drink some motherfucking water because I'm thirsty as shit and walk my dog. Till next time, guys. Peace. Oh yeah, before I forget, fuck Paul Pierce.